What's going on, guys? Welcome to another video. I'm your boy NarikChase. In this video, we're going to be reviewing season 1 of Wicked City. No, I'm not talking about the animated film. Now, in season 1, we end up following this girl named Camille, who, after her mother gets killed by an unknown figure, ends up traveling to Atlanta to meet with a woman, somebody named Kaden, to help protect her because she's in danger. And while she's there, she ends up discovering witchcraft, and that, of course, she has witch powers. And we start going down a rabbit hole about her past. We learn more about the characters, and just all kinds of chaos ensues. I gotta say, when I came across it, I thought it was an interesting premise, and I held off on it. But then I decided to watch it, and I have to say, I'm actually glad that I actually watched this. I've always been an advocate of, the black media and stuff, for it to just not be just like hood stuff, just drama stuff and stuff like that, and kind of branch out sci-fi, horror, slasher, adventure, supernatural, just to go ahead and allow those types of creators to start to spread their wings a little bit and expand their horizons. And I actually like this series. Season 1 was actually really, really good. Go down to the positives. I actually liked all of the characters for the most part. My favorite is Angela. She's this witch that has an affinity for like plants, and she likes making potions and herbs and stuff like that. She's probably my favorite one out of the bunch. And also the main antagonist of season 1, Claudette. I really like her too. She's over the top, and all of the women in the show are absolutely hot. But it's not just that. It's, I guess you could say, the black version of Charmed. And it might not be as polished, but still, it's worth a watch. That I really enjoyed learning more about the characters, and I like the fact that there's a specialty to each one of the witches in the series. I like that they all have their certain motivations. I really do enjoy the core cast relationships, and when it comes to just the overall supporting cast, I think that everybody does a pretty good job. And the story itself is actually pretty interesting. It's not groundbreaking. You've seen this types of setups here and there before, but it has a lot of interesting twists in it. And for the most part, I was thoroughly engaged. The first season was about 6 episodes, I believe, and I completely ran through them in no time. The episodes were about 30 plus minutes, but there's a lot that's going on. There are interesting things that happen in it, such as dealing with the afterlife and the after effects from touching that realm. You have characters learning to utilize their powers. Others are dealing with just the changes and sudden changes and traumas in their lives. The characters, again, I really enjoy the characters. Now, I will say this show is raunchy. Characters, you will see some nudity, you will see some people having sex. There's definitely a lot of curse words and stuff like that, but I think because it has this urban setting, I wasn't bothered by it. It felt like it wasn't just there to just for like shock value. It actually felt organic. It felt true to the characters. There are some really interesting concepts, and I love seeing supernatural shows where there are interesting concepts being played with old-fashioned ideas, such as magic, and kind of how do people use them. Like, one of the things is Sherise. Sherise is this loudmouth, headstrong character, and I like her too as well. And she's a stripper, and she has the ability to influence people, so she makes a lot of money because she's a stripper and she can influence people to pay her more money. Like, that's an interesting concept. Although I did kept thinking to myself, if you have that kind of power, you shouldn't have to strip. But she says she actually likes to dance, so that's just kind of her thing. But it's stuff like that. I love that interesting aspect to that. There is an interesting storyline. Now, I will say something about the story. By episode 3, you're probably catching on to everything that's going on. Well, not everything. Some of the major twists, you're probably catching on to it. But when it gets to the last 2 episodes, there are a lot of truth bombs. There are some, again, interesting concepts. I like the idea of death magic that they bring into it, and how how corruptive it is, how powerful it is, how deadly it is, and how it's very taboo and how it attracts the wrong attention. And I like the main chick, Camille. She's actually likable. She has a bit of personality. I still want her to kind of come into her own, but she's able to float where a lot of people, I would say, in this type of situation would kind of sink based on all they care about is, hey, this happened to me and I don't know. And I think she kind of rides that middle lane between both of those extremes and still have a personality. I actually like her. She isn't sulking and everything. She does try. And then when she starts to see this whole magical world, she does try to get on board. And then when things get crazy, she doesn't whine about it. Like I said, I just really enjoy her character. And like I said, my favorite two characters are Claudette and Angela. They're awesome. And I'm looking forward definitely to season two to see where they're going to go with this story. And I did make the comparison several times. This is like the black version of Charmed. Budget wise, I would say that it's a good looking show. There are some good, decent set pieces. They're not just traveling all across the country. They're in certain places, a lot of the times indoors and things like that. But I do like the outfits. I think the women are exceptionally hot. Almost all the women are just hot. Also, when we get to see like magic and stuff like that, it isn't overly used. It's used sparingly, and it's used creatively and sparingly. You could, at this day and age, you could probably like do just like magical effects like out the wazoo, no problem. But I do like the fact that it is, and one of the things I also like about it too, and another reason I compare it to Charm is because it has this Wiccan feel to it almost, with like spells, rituals, signs, herbs, potions, things like that. But it seems really, really grounded, and I do appreciate that. And again, I like the rules that they're set in the world. I like the different mythological things that they got going on. There are some interesting techniques that they utilize with like certain set pieces to represent other like places and stuff like that. It just and performance wise, I think majority of the characters, or actually majority of the performances, I'm sorry, are actually pretty good. They are pretty good. There's some interesting shots as well, especially with closest with certain characters and abilities. Like one of the cool shots that they had in one of the episodes, I believe it was episode 2, where one of the characters is laying down to go to sleep, and then there's this like spiritual demon creature. Like she lays down, but then the camera looks at the mirror across from her bed, and you see this bald-headed, pale demon on her, who ends up attaching itself to her. Just stuff like that. I think it's really cool. The powers, the production, I think are decent. I'm looking forward to seeing that kind of be bumped up a little bit more, having a bit more locations as well. We see a couple of like fights here and there. It's not nothing lengthy or major, but they're actually pretty cool. You see somebody get blown through a wall. You see somebody get suspended. There are some weird takes too, where something that happened with somebody, but it seems like they're fast forwarding it. Like it happens really, really fast, but it seems like they fast forwarded. Like there's one part where this woman gets shot, and then it looks like she gets yanked to the ground really fast. And I was like, did she die? But you find she didn't die. But I was like, well, why did they speed it up like that? But ultimately, I think season 1 of Wicked City is actually a really good watch. I'm looking forward to starting on season 2, seeing where these characters go. Of course, there's a major, a big reveal, and there's a major, setback at the end of season 1. So it starts season 2 off with them having to search for one of these characters, which I believe is going to happen, even though there's a bit of betrayal. But yes, there's love, there's loss, there's betrayal, there's death, there's drama. But it sticks the landing to me. And ultimately, I will say that this is definitely for fans of that type of like the urban shows, but also open to like supernatural things as well. And if you like Charmed and can deal with a bit of the nudity, the curse words, and I think this will definitely work for you. I think it's actually pretty cool. I think you could say this is basically Charmed, but a little bit more R-rated. But having said that, Wicked City season 1 definitely deserves 3 out of 5. But like I said, I'm looking forward to finishing it. So far, there are 2 more seasons, and I could probably finish them all tomorrow, but I'm going to space myself out because we got a bunch more videos. But guys, having said that, let me know in the comment section, have you seen Wicked City? What are your thoughts about it? Be sure to hit that like, share, subscribe, and that notification button to get the best of what we got going on this channel. And I'll catch you guys later.